So what are the most important values you see that are important to teach younger generations? Like if my 29-year-old daughter or someone who's younger than that, even, like, what do you think they need to really hear?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think empathy, first of all. I mean, I think we really need to understand other people. We really need to empathize. I think it's humility. We don't know what we don't know. I think patience is really important for this generation because they have technology, they have speed of things that like we didn't have. I feel like an old person saying that. I keep saying we didn't have these things, but we're in an era where technology is going at such a rapid pace. I mean, we have electric powered cars, right? That we didn't think we would have. We have drones flying around. We didn't think we would have that. Like there's all kinds of stuff. So the pace of the world is moving quickly, but patience is, I think, a really important thing. And then the courage, like when you see an opportunity to take it. So I think those are the things that I would sort of give as values that would be important.
So both of those, I think, are critical when you also think about challenging moments. So there are broken rungs all over the ladder to success in every industry. Doesn't matter what you're doing. And so women get a bad rap. They can get a bad assignment or be in a bad career situation. What do you say to them? Do those folks ever call you and ask you for advice about what to do? And what would you say to them?
Well, so first of all, I think, it's part of how I grew up. I think, so I grew up in a family that was super positive. I thank my parents, my mom and my dad so much for teaching me that anything is possible. And so I think that one of the things that I have learned is there is opportunity in chaos. Okay. So you called me the turnaround CEO. And actually, I hadn't even realized that until earlier. A friend of mine said, you do this thing really well. Like you seem to come in when things are really broken and you seem to be able to turn them around. And also with no time, people, or money, like that's like an art. And I was like, yeah, actually,
painful.
right.
Looks
like,
painful.
Yeah, very painful, but I know how to do it. And
Yeah.
but that's the opportunity in the chaos is that I don't see them as broken or needing a turnaround. I see them as just like, okay, let's do a 30-degree shift. Let's look at this slightly differently. It's kind of like Hitchworks. When I came in, a founder who had amazing vision, we were invested in her and loved what she was doing. And when I came in, I was like, there's something to this skills intelligence. We're so focused on talent mobility, and everybody seems in this market to be the Winchester Mystery House of platforms. They're doing talent acquisition or something else. And they're like, we're just going to lop on talent mobility and say that we do this. And so I realized that was sort of like a thing that really wasn't the focus. What was more important is that we had the skills intelligence. We had that underlying layer that everything that we did made it that much more impactful when we made those connections. And so again, seeing that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so
what is the gold in there that can be built upon for that pivot, that 30-degree pivot?
Yeah. So it's just being able to see something from a different perspective and realizing that there's opportunity. Anything is possible. Yeah. But again, I think it starts with how do you view it? If you're someone who's viewing something as like, it's a burden.
Yeah.
It's like, I get to do things, not I have to do things. It's kind of like a mind shift.
Yeah. We get to choose every day how we approach what we're working on.
Exactly.
No question about it.
And it's also finding people that help pull you forward. And so it's sometimes like, I remember it being really painful trying to find people who could be mentors or sponsors. And sometimes you get like people who didn't have time. And, that can sometimes like, when someone says, no, I can't help you, it's hard. And if you get no enough times, but there's going to be that one person that says yes. And so again, you just have to keep knowing there are people that have done this. Be with people like you with How Women Lead. And the people that are involved in How Women Lead are people who say, yes, how can I help?
Well, you said, yes, how can I help? When we were all together envisioning starting a venture firm, those early days were so fun and so hopeful. And look what's happened now, just a couple of years later. So tell us about the different roles you've played with How Women Invest, from like strategy, white paper, blue ocean strategy, to like, ending up, taking a company to a sale.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, I want to say it is the greatest honor of my career to have started How Women Invest with you and Erica and the other herds of people that were involved. A true honor. And for me, it was particularly special because my dad was in venture capital and he had passed away. But for me, it was like such a big deal that like I've been a female founder. I have sat on the other side of the table. I know what it feels like, deeply know what it feels like when you've got a company, you've given it your blood, sweat, and tears, and you've got a great idea and you believe in it, and you just need someone else to believe in it with you. And it's such a different feeling. So to be able to bring that personal experience that I had to starting this venture fund and to be a part of it and sort of architect it from like, what are all the different stages, really help with the due diligence. I've been through so much due diligence. It's like, well, yeah, like I know what we need to do because I've been through it 100 times.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
really being able to like help architect that. And then to the greatest thing was like, you'll remember those early calls of meeting companies and women crying because it was like all women looking at women,
Ah,
and it was such a different experience than the experience that they're out there seeing when they're knocking on the door of other investment firms. And for me to change that 2% going to female founders, like that is in my soul. Like that is something that until the end of time, my time, I will be working on because it's just wrong. And
yeah.
particularly women of color, Black women, we've got to be funding them. So for me to be able to like even do a little bit in what I'm doing and seeing how Women Invest has grown, and then to be able to be a part of the deal team, meet Kelly Stephen Ways, the founder of Hitchworks, be able to be on the board of the company, and then to be able to honored to join the company and take it to this amazing exit, with ServiceNow. Like that is what I got to do. But it was simply because you came forward and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this thing. Are you interested? I was like, yes, I am in.
Yeah. Well,
And
and if I had asked you to do a new project like that in the midst of your time as CEO of Hitch, you wouldn't have been able to do it. So there's a time and a moment for all of us, right? When we have spaciousness, and you had just wrapped up one thing
yeah,
and you were sort of like, I'm going to take a break and work, focus on what I want for a minute before I take my next gig. And sure enough, right as you were getting, job offers, the
right.
Hitch opportunity to come in-house
Yeah,
happened at the same time. So like, it's like, grab it. Like you just
yeah,
said earlier, like grab the moment when you can, because you never know what will come out of it. And look, this tremendous legacy for you on many fronts, Heather. All right. So 40, 50 years from now, when, when we're wrapping up our lives, what is your biggest hope for How Women Invest? And that both as an organization, as a concept, right? How women do invest in venture. What's your vision? What's your personal hope?
well, that we've moved that number. I mean, like when we look at the stats, that 2%, it has bumped around for, I don't know, 20 years, like 1.8% of funding, 1.9, then we get to 2.2, and then it slips again. Like that is ridiculous. And I think that in our era right now, I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but some things have gone backwards in big ways. And I know a lot of us are feeling very disappointed by that, but we can't give up. We have to keep moving forward. And so for me to know that we are seeing women getting funding and that they have a voice, and that we have more women at the investor table because we've educated women on what it means to invest and how powerful that is for them and their legacies of the money and wealth creation that they're creating for themselves and their families. Like that is where the power is that we just start little by little, but then it starts to balloon. And before we know it, that percentage has changed. We've got leaders that we are looking to who are known as the investors. And I think, How Women Invest, like, I mean, look, fund has already had 2 exits. Fund 2 is already well underway with fund 3, which is going to be like enormous. And it's like, count me in for all. But that's extraordinary, Julie. Like it has been such a short amount of time. Plus, the fund got started during the pandemic. I mean, every obstacle, but we never saw it as an obstacle. And the women have come forward to be a part of it. It is beautiful to see. And I remember women that I know that are so brilliant, smart, said, oh, I can't be an investor. I don't know how to do that. I was like, great. All of us don't know exactly what we're doing, but we're going to do it together. And
Yeah.
I think that's the part you just need to invite people. You just need to
Yeah.
pull people forward. It's
Yeah.
pretty simple, but it's funny how like sometimes we think it's difficult.